Hello, everyone. Welcome to the trip. It's going to be me to start, but I should have some people joining me. It is, it's the off season, and everybody sometimes has things that they want to do, and so the attendance isn't as uh, isn't as 100% as it is during the season, especially this kind of season, which is over now. So I will probably ramble on and just chat about whatever people want to talk about in the chat or what's on my mind. So yeah, here we are. Season is really over now. The window has opened, and now everybody's refreshing their Twitter windows. They are chatting about what's next, and looking forward to what's happening. Before I get into that and then some, let me say hi to the first joiner of the show. We've got Anders in the house. Welcome to the show, Anders. I'm I believe I know this, but you are a Leeds fan, if I am correct. So you guys will be doing similar things to us in regards to fixing up your team and getting it better and ready to compete at a higher level than you were last season. So I believe that is true. Thanks for joining us. I know you were out there in Mott. What does that mean? You know what? I don't know what that means. I'm not up on. You know what? I don't like these things. I don't like not even abbreviations, but acronyms. In my job, there's acronyms all over the place, and I get I'm like, what does that one mean? And then I have there's actually a dictionary of acronyms that we use at work. So you might have to tell me what that means. I don't know. Man of the. I don't know what that means. All right, you'll tell me. Maybe you'll tell me. But yeah, it is the postseason, the crazies, the silly season. Um, People are making moves. One of the biggest I guess one of the biggest moves going on right now is that's right. All right, now I got it. Yep. That's all. Okay, now I know what it means. And yes, I actually did. Before I get into my stuff, yeah, I did a couple years ago go and see. I actually saw an Arsenal match, and I saw a Leeds match in the same trip. So yeah, I know all about marching on together. Yeah, so I got to see a match there at um, yeah, Ellen Road. I'm not really. I don't remember a lot of things, so the fact that I got that name right is good. It's good for me. I tap myself on the back because I don't remember a lot of stuff. I always say I don't want to remember everything, so I don't because the brain can only hold a certain amount of information. And Ellen Road, I can figure out what that means. What the team is, what the yeah, where Leeds play. But okay, got it. Yes, you are a Leeds player, so Leeds fan. So I get you guys will be looking for a goalkeeper, right? At the least, I think a goalkeeper. So maybe some, I don't know if you want better defenders or what, but you got. I don't know if you guys have been looking at. I don't know what the transfer news is for Leeds. You're picking up some players that are on their way down, or if you're, going international. I mean, if you're part of the Red Bull consortium, right? You probably should be able to pull some players from that academy. All right, so that might be a good idea. Might be a good plus. But yeah, Arsenal, or should I say Premier League? Because as I said, Arsenal is. As much as there's been a lot of noise about Arsenal, there hasn't actually been a lot of action. Right. 12 to 14. Yeah, I always say 10 new players. So 12 to 14 new players. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what? We saw what Forest did, right? I think Forest, I believe when they came up, they brought in at least double-digit players, if I recall. So it can be done. You just have to. It sounds like you have to cheat, or I don't know if they cheated or not, but it sounds like it can be done. It can be done, and there's always players, and experience in the Premier League is, I guess, better than not. And any player that's on their way down, or who's still sitting in the Championship, probably has that experience. So there we go. All right, so we're gonna keep going. I put this show up on the Instagram, but it looks like it just stuck, or I just don't know how to do it. So we'll see if it catches up. I'll do a refresh here and see. I think I might have just killed it. So let's see. I don't know. I think I did something wrong here. So it's probably gone. But all right, what you gonna do? Let's see. I don't know. Oh, there it is. Okay, so it is there. All right, cool. So it is there. It isn't gone, but it is alive. So people over there can check me out. But yeah, 12 to 14 players. I always say 10. I always feel like Arsenal was about 10 players short. And right now, I think they're not probably 10 players short, but if they brought in 10 players, hopefully that would be the answer to all my concerns, basically. Will my manager actually play all of them? Because that's been the trick, or at least the issue for me. It's like he keeps players, he brings players in, then he doesn't play them. So I think we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, I think you guys have a goalkeeper on that list, at least to get things started. You got a Ramsdale. There's lots of goalkeepers, right? I don't know if there's a Neto guy that played for Arsenal. He played one game for us. If he's worthy of coming to Leeds, but he had played in in the Premier League before that. So, but let me get into it here. Leeds can buy Swedish national. Oh, there you go. Why not? Why not? I don't know. Is it one of the players? I think one of the big players from Sweden. I think you would want to bring over, right? If I recall, isn't it? Isn't that Yeah, Gyökeres. I don't know if you can afford Gyökeres though. All right. I know it's that this. I know the yeah. So yeah, you could bring the national team. I think minus Gyökeres, right? I mean, that would definitely be a coup if you did that. So, but there's other players you probably could bring in there. Oh, look who's that! Look who's here. So it's early it's late in the night, early in the morning, depending on who you are. But Dad's in the house. Welcome to the show, Dad. Thanks for joining. I kind of just been here rambling, and chatting with Anders here. Hope you're having a good night. I know you're probably going back to bed. Just got up to make your morning walk, right? But thanks for joining. Hope you hit the like. If you haven't already hit the like, make sure you've hit the like when you come in. So yes, like I said, yeah. Oh, that's right, Isak as well. What Isak? He's Swedish as well. Sweet. Oh my gosh, Gyökeres and Isak. Yeah, I don't know if I don't think you can afford that. Isn't that like all the money you get from coming up, right? And that doesn't you don't get all that at once. So yeah, no, makes you wonder how that team will play out, right? I mean, they should be pretty good. I haven't actually. I don't think I remember seeing them play Gyökeres and Isak together. If they've actually done that, probably don't. But yeah, Isak would probably be that'd be your budget right there. And Gyökeres would be a large percentage of your budget. So yeah, I guess maybe minus those two players, minus the strikers. You don't need a striker anyways, right? You definitely need a goalkeeper. You should go get the best goalkeeper you can. Joining the show here, we've got BX Gunner in the house. Welcome to the show, BX Gunner. It's just me for now, but others will join. I think I know Spencer will be late. I don't know what happened to Tony. He didn't say anything like he's not going to join. But there we go. We got Miss Melina in the house. Welcome to the show, Miss Melina. Thanks for joining. So what I like to do when and I do this all the time, and one of the things that I like to do is I'll put bookmarks in the Twitter, yeah, because there's always something there that I can chat about. And there's a lot I can chat about without it, but just in case I lose my way. There was talk about the Gyökeres and Isak discussions. For me, initially I want Gyökeres. That's who I want. I think that's what Arsenal needs. There's risks in Isak in Gyökeres or Sesko. I think I might have said Isak, but definitely Gyökeres and Sesko are the two players that are at least I think on the radar for Arsenal. They're not the two best that Arsenal could go out and get, but they are two that Arsenal probably should be looking at seriously. Yeah. For me, dream player to Arsenal. Oof. I assume what you mean in this market, right? In this market, well, the dream would have been Isak. So I kind of feel like that's everybody's answer to this question. But achievable player. There are. I guess I'll say there's a lot out there. But for me, Gyökeres was was like the first on my list. I'm figuring if a player who can hit over 60 GA in any league can come to Arsenal, and I feel like we can get something out of him in at Arsenal. I mean, I think he's a strong player. He's not as tall as Sesko, which I think people say that's one reason we're after Sesko, but he would still bring that. He's over 6 feet, so right, and he's used to scoring goals, whether you don't like the style of the goals and stuff like that. But I think Arsenal could do worse, But for me, Gyökeres would be it because I think right now he does well. He has played against Arsenal, and I believe he held his own even though his team didn't do so well. But yeah, no, I Gyökeres would be my dream player. And before I get started, I got one of my partners in crime.
Player number 2.
Got Tony here. How you doing, Tony?
Was doing good until I had an asthma attack. Now I'm dying again. But
Oh, asthma. That would be hard to do a show when you have one of those. But you're breathing okay now?
yeah, but I'm good now. Took that inhaler. It works good. So.
Oh, good. Glad you're breathing well. So yeah, so I got.
No,
I like to say I was right.
We're not to have a weekend at Bernie's episode of Tony.
Oh, is that right?
Stiff Tony just.
Oh yeah. So we got a question here. What's your dream play at Arsenal?
I don't know. Anybody that's clinical with the ball.
Give me a name. Don't tell me a type of player.
Isak.
Okay, you can't get him. So, give me one you realistically can get.
Yeah, I would go back into Watkins. Just get a 2-year contract, offering 300K a year. He'll come.
Yeah, here's my thing about that. I would be so disappointed if we were to go and get Ollie Watkins now. I would be so disappointed.
When we have a chance to win the Champions League,
you have a chance. No, you have a chance to win any of the trophies if you brought him in. Right, any of them. You still had opportunities to win any of the 4 trophies that you were playing for. You didn't bring him in when we, basically lost all of them. I feel like that would upset me because that, I know the money is the reason why we didn't do it, but nah, I just would be so upset with that because I'm like, you could have just done it 6 months ago, and who knows where you would be right now. And even if you wanted him to be your backup, because that's kind of where, I mean, he's not starting every day for Villa right now, so it's not like he would lose his spot. It's not like he's going to lose his spot. He didn't really have one, So, but I don't know. That would disappoint me. The fact that we would get him too late when we could have just got him right when we needed him.
Yeah, but the problem is, Gary, we need more than one striker.
No, you got to go. You know what? You can't. What can you not do? You can't jump to 2. You got to get 1 first. And to get 2 in the same window, I think is asking a lot in general. So if you got 1 in January, right, and then got 1 in the summer, now you've got 2.
Has Jonathan David signed with anyone yet?
No, but like I said, if you had Ollie Watkins, then you could just put all your finances into, if Gucarez is going to cost you more monetarily, you still get it. You get him, right?
Yeah.
If Sesko is going to cost you a little bit more, you get him. You don't, you got two strikers now, and then you figure out the rest. So that's kind of how I would have looked at that. We didn't do
We,
that.
well, we should have plenty of money because Premier League, 188 million, Champions League over 100 million.
Yeah, almost
It'll be
300
made
million in
for our
in
positions. So.
yeah. We definitely should have the money. You want Kane? Kane's not leaving. He just won his first trophy. You kidding me? Think about it. He just won his first trophy, first legit trophy. All right, he's not leaving.
Even though he grew up as an Arsenal player, I just
Yeah.
don't think the team would go that way,
Nah, nah.
or fans.
Well, it
Most
would
of the
cost
fans
them
will be
even
too
more
happy
money
about
than
it.
what they would pay for Gucarez, I think, if he were to come to Arsenal. I mean, he's not going to come and take a discount. Yeah, yeah. So Mel's talking about Bueno. Bueno. Oh, what is it? Oh wait, this is the first thing. BX Gunners started the conversation. It's crazy, right? He said, "Nah, you know what? I don't want to go here. I don't want to go there. I do want to go to Manchester United." Cunha, same thing. So think about it. If Arsenal had Cunha and Bueno, yeah, even though I don't know where he would play.
It's crazy to me because they haven't been good for 7, 8 seasons now,
Who hasn't
and
been good?
United, but
Yep.
people still drawn to that because of their name, because
I
they grew
find
up
you know
watching
what
them.
you want to be there when they turn the corner. You want to be there when they turn the corner, right?
Yeah,
I mean, and they're a bigger draw than Arsenal, who's closer to making that turn, right? Turn for the better. So I kind of felt like that is part for me. Also, they got a manager that I know a lot of people are like, they think they got a good one if they let him work, let him do his job. So I think that's what it is. Also, he's got his best players on the market, right? So no, I think he comes. I know everybody will say Arteta is probably a better manager than Amarin, but I know Amarin comes with he comes with I believe he comes with a CV that has some silverware on it, and a player that sits pretty high up there in people's eyes is doing amazing things. So yeah. I mean, it is crazy that they can do that, but you know what? I mean, if they're playing one game a week and maybe two, and once in a while, and they've got a team like think about the teams that they're coming from, right? Wolves are sitting towards the bottom of the table, right? And Bueno kind of sitting in the middle of the table. So it isn't like they're missing anything. They weren't playing
no.
international football. They weren't playing European football anyways, right? So they're like, whatever. It's a better club, a better, probably more money. Why not give it a chance? Mm.
Money's all that matters to him anymore, Gary.
Well, you know what? If you're not going to get to go to the big boys, then you might as well get your money. All right.
Yeah.
I think yeah, yeah, yeah. Anders says you need someone who can give you 20 plus goals and at least 7, 8 assists. The problem with that is the same. I think I read a stat. There's like 3 or 4 players over the course of I think the last 10 years that have hit the 20 plus goal mark. Not everybody can do it unless your name is Salah, Kane,
Is that just
Harlan.
coming back Premier League, Gary?
No, but
I,
you know what? But we always translate that because somebody will tell you that if they score 25 goals in the Portuguese leagues, it's not the same, right? You've
yeah,
got you've got you've got you've got Gucarez who scored what almost over 30 goals in the Portuguese league, and what are people saying about him? Can he do it in the Premier League? So it doesn't matter what the number is, right? Holland was the only player that came over. People thought, all right, it's probably going to translate because the German league is as tough as the Premier League. Portuguese league, no. Like Osman hasn't really played in a tough league according to many. I mean, I think when you put the ball in the net, that just means you put the ball in the net. And the easier passes you give to them, the more chances they score.
Yeah, but you had a player like Lacazette that was always scoring over 30 goals for Leon, and part of it's the way he was used at Arsenal, but most goals he got was 17.
Yeah.
Which you're probably good at if you get over 15 and 10 assists. I think that's enough to probably get you up for Premier League.
Yeah, I hear you. I think the 20 goal mark. Every time I hear it, I'm like, no, but not that many people do that. Not that many people do that, and it's
The
it's
problem
so
with that,
that can't be end all be all. Is it that you get 20 league goals and that's the marker? Because I think Arsenal was trending until this was trending, up till 2 years ago, basically to have, go for 5 players in double digits at one point. I think, or maybe it was six. I can't remember, but
I think it was 6.
they had a large number of players who were going to be able to hit double digits in goals, right? And since then, I think Harland, not Harland, Kai did it last year. I can't remember if Saka did it last year. And and I'm talking about the previous season. Like, I don't know. Um, I don't think. Let me see here. I can look at my stats here because last year, let's see, league. We had three last year. We had three. We had Saka, Havertz, and Trossard, right? And then I think the season before that, that was when Martinelli had a good year. So that's kind of the thing, like, right? So yeah, so when Martinelli had his 15 goals, you had Erdogan with 15, you had Saka with 14, you had Jesus with 11, right? For me, that was like, all right, so now we need to trend up, and that's without a striker, right? I didn't name a striker in there. I mean, Jesus, he might play in that position, but he's not a striker, right? So, we
Yeah,
had,
and that's when you had the lone striker position too, because that's when we
yeah,
were playing the
yeah,
4-2-3-1,
yeah. So
which
yeah,
I think
yeah,
you have to be in a formation close to that, because
mm,
I just think you're never gonna get what you want out of
yeah,
Odegaard, putting him as a
yeah.
left eight with his defensive duties. It's not gonna work.
I
Put
kind
him
of,
in the middle,
I
that'd be
I
great.
don't understand that at all. So why would you take a player like an Erdogan and think I'm going to give him defensive responsibilities at all? Like, yeah, I get being having to have them, but not be the primary. Like his primary thing isn't to do what I thought it was. Everybody said it's the pass before the pass, and I'm like, I don't even think it's that anymore. Right? You got mom in the house. Mom says hello, son, and your group of DWTT. So yeah, so hi, mom, and Bates kind of says hello. Yeah, we need someone who's going to fit into the manager's system. Someone who's willing to do what Arteta wants and be clinical at the same time. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I think
But
I think those two are counterproductive, as we know. Because even Saka, who's probably fits the mold, he can't do both. He can't be as defensively sound that Arteta wants, but then also be the central. He's like the main attacker we have on the front line.
and that's why you see it. No matter what side Timber plays on, that side scores more, because they don't have to worry about going back, because he generally doesn't go past the halfway line. And one thing I think people are forgetting, if you're that clinical type of player, it's generally that you're creative. And Arteta don't like creative players. Arteta wants to micromanage everything.
You know what? He doesn't
Not
like
let
he doesn't like waste. Like, you know what it is?
He's
You know what it is? You know what it is? Just remember, like, if I'm gonna bring it to, like, basketball, all right? An old school manager will tell you, just take the bank shot, right? It's the highest percentage shot, you're gonna make most of them, right? The
yeah,
new age coach is gonna tell you what?
to shoot a million 3 pointers.
Take the 3. Your percentages of that going in are less, but for every if you take 2 if you take, what is it? Maybe 3 or 4 shots from 3 and 3 or 4 shots from 2, if you hit 2 of the 3s, you're probably ahead of where would be if you, take the
Yeah,
2s. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
if you're shooting 30 to 35% on threes, and they're
yeah.
shooting 50 to 55 on twos, they end up being about the same.
So, and then when you have a hot day, then you blow people out the water. So I think for me, it's, Arteta doesn't like to waste his opportunities, so he doesn't even create them. You can't, as they say, what is it? You can't miss a shot you don't take, right? And I think Arteta to some degree does that. Like, you know what? If we don't make that risky pass, it won't get turned over. So we don't make that risky pass. If we don't try to put that ball into box in a position that maybe, our guy will have to fight for it, then it's more likely we won't lose possession. And for me, you have to take that. You have to get used to taking those chances. He won't do it. We'll say hi to a couple of people and then we'll continue on here. Get to your question in a little bit, BX Gunner. I'm just going to say hello to Rhetoric Gamer. Well, thanks for joining us. But got a question here. Do we feel like there will be a change in our gameplay next season?
I haven't seen those signs yet.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's gonna be hard. Yeah, I hear you on that one. It'd be hard to say we're gonna change when we don't even know who we're bringing in. Like, if we're bringing in Sesko, nothing will change. If we're bringing Gukares, something should change. That's kind of how I feel.
Keyword should,
It should.
not
That's
will.
what, I can't say it will because we know Arteta will try to retrofit anything. All right, like you are the best attacker in the world, but can you defend? Can you defend? Will you come back and support your teammates in the midfield and even maybe on the back line sometimes? That's the kind of the questions he will ask. And most players are like, why do I need to come back if I'm scoring you goals?
That's kind of why I'm surprised he hasn't lost the locker room yet. It's just like, if you're a creative player, you're dying to be in the position.
Yeah, well, look at who he has brought in. And look who he has kept. Players that we thought had potential and didn't. All right. We thought ESR was going to pan out. A little injury, never really got back into form. Vieira couldn't handle the Premier League, right? In Kedia, he comes off the bench for Crystal Palace. I mean, ESR comes off the bench for Fulham. How they're starting for us in many games. That's like, if you're Arsenal, you don't even have to be Arteta. Arsenal, if you're looking at how your players are being used when they leave, that should tell you something.
And if you look at the ESPN article last week, they had the worst signings. First was Eddie and Kedia, then it was followed by Smith Rowe.
I mean,
So that tells you,
yeah.
if the clubs that they're going to, they're not delivering at all, then they definitely weren't fit for Arsenal to start with.
Yeah. Well, and we knew that, but we had, what? It's one of those things where this is not the answer, but I got them there. But for me, there were some talents, right?
Yeah.
There's some talents, and so if Arteta would use them in that way, then he won't waste them. But he doesn't do that either. So they just suffer, and we just suffer. We just suffer by words screaming at them. Why are they not doing what they should do? Well, guess what? Maybe they can't. Not in that system. So the game plan should change, Big Gunner, regardless of who we bring in, because it didn't work. And it's not just because of injuries or red cards, right? It didn't work because of those. It didn't. It was always going to be a problem regardless of whether we had injuries or suspensions, right? Because that's kind of the key things that, and the referee calls. right? Because we put ourselves in too many situations to score goals. So either you have to give your players even more chances, or you got to get yourself newer players who can take those chances. You know, so we'll see. I don't know what I don't know what Arteta is going to do, but he needs to change something. I wish he would change something for the better. Like his defensive stability is solid. I would like him to make it a little bit better.
Yeah,
Got BBK
that's
Sports
why
in the house. Welcome to the show, BBK. Thanks for joining. Me and you are gonna have to try to meet up and do a show. I know I've been saying it, but because we're on the same, well, not on the same time zone, but we're in the same country. So, but yeah, sometime soon. I'm saying it, so hopefully it happens. Say hi to Beats Gunner. What are you gonna say there, Tony?
um, what were we just talking about?
I was just talking.
Uh, my,
Sorry.
my, 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 my
I
memory and
was
shit.
we were talking about game plans changing, and I was just saying that it needs to change for sure. Arteta needs to change no matter who he brings in, because we can't, like, the excuses can't be injuries, red cards, referee decisions, because we put ourselves in positions to score. So
Yeah, it's. I was gonna say you're always telling us to hit the. I guess it'd be the Y button on
yeah, take the
Xbox.
shot, man.
Circle on PlayStation, I believe.
We don't want to take that shot. You know what? We don't want to take that shot because we might miss, and it's like, take the damn shot. They work. This team, you know what it is? Reminds me sometimes like when I was in high school. Um, we the other teams we would play against they'd be really solid defensively, but then what they would also do is when they turn the ball over, it was like fast break, poof, gone, right?
Yep.
And on my side, and my coach, we didn't do that as much, and people said, "You guys don't look like you're having any fun out there," and you know what? Because there was a lot of like thinking going on, a lot of this attention to detail, and so it wasn't the same kind of basketball as everybody else. Because I would go out and play pickup, and I would be playing against some of the coaches and whatnot, and they would be like, "Gary, how comes you don't do that when you're in the games? When you're playing And I was like,
I'm not
I don't know.
allowed to do it.
I got restrictions, I guess. I don't know what I said. I don't know what I said, but in the back room, we got from the floor. He's all cleaned up and fed. He's probably tired from working, but we'll
Yeah.
bring him to the stage. It is Spencer is in the house. Welcome to the show, Spencer.
Hello, everybody. Hello, and I get to do it again tomorrow too.
You got to work late again.
Well, I gotta drive up to base tomorrow, so that's out of the norm. So I got to make up the 2 hours I'll miss, because we'll see.
So your driving doesn't count as work.
Oh, it does technically speaking. It's a complex question. It depends if my boss is watching. No, it's fine. No, we'll see. A lot of it was kind of self-imposed. Since I took Friday off, it just kind of put everything work was behind, and I knew I was going to.
But what you're saying is, and I'll tell you know what I'm going to say. You're making it an excuse for why you're like, I can't take a vacation because the work I didn't make up the work, when in reality you should be able to take the time off.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't affect the work should be the same no matter what, right?
Well, I agree with you on that. But there's I saw a meme that was pretty funny, and I shared it to my boss, and it's Hasbullah walking to HR, and he says, "Go into HR because I called on my coworkers tariffs because they cost more than they're worth." I mean, like I said, I got a new guy working with me. He's brand new. I have zero expectations from him, but I've got a guy that's got more experience than me, and I have to tell him what to think, man. And it just they don't pay me enough to think for the guy. That's really it.
Yeah, no, I heard that. I when I first joined, it was just me. I was like, I'm just rambling, but I think I was making sense. But
well, I came in and disrupted that, so there's
that.
No,
it's cool. We took. You know what?
Mhm.
We were talking about this. Here's a question for you. Do we feel like there will be a change in our game plan next season?
Gameplay.
Sorry.
I think there better be. I mean,
That is, you know
wasn't
what? You know what?
punching.
You have to change that because I think I said something similar to that, and I don't like it when we're on the same page.
Well, it's reality, Gary. I mean, we both sat through this whole season, Tony included. How could we come up with? There's no way the house is on fire, and you're like, this is fine. Like that's a meme. It's funny, but it's not reality. You can't live in that existence and expect everything to be fine. Yeah, you're gonna have to change things. I don't think you have to drastically change everything. I think some aspects need to change as far as your attacking, your clinicalness, chances created. Defensively, fine. I feel fine with the defense. I feel fine with the goalkeeper.
But that's what deals, Spencer. Why we have this elite defense, but we still want Odegaard and Martinelli and everybody else. Jesus, what he's playing. It's like you don't need your whole team on defense when you got a solid back line.
If there's a tactic I would love to see disappear is the inverted left back or inverted fullback, whichever side you do. I'd love to see that just disappear. I'd love to go back to overlapping fullbacks, like the good old days. That's why they do that. That's part of the whole purpose of having your wingers track back to kind of extra coverage. It's complex because the inverted left back, I just don't like it because it leaves you kind of open. But then the inverted left back kind of hurts Martinelli, right? That's the other aspect, or whoever's playing the left wing position, that they don't have that same coverage that Saka gets to deal with on the other side. Which again, if you think about it from that perspective, why would you not just invert your if you're going to invert your strong wing side, which would be Saka, and help your weakest side, which would be Martinelli.
I think we invert both sides most of the time.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on the game for sure. We've done both sides. We've seen White play inverted, right? We've seen Timber do it. Skelly, Tomiyasu even did it. I think he was playing left back in that Bayern Munich game. But
I just wish if you want to attack with your fullbacks, play a back three, make them wing backs, and then you go all guns blazing ahead, and you have three guys back there all the time to clean up the mess.
But then we become Man United technically, right? Because don't they run a back three with two wing backs?
We've done it before.
Maybe Arteta doesn't know that there's a concept called three at the back.
Well, technically, when you invert, that is three at the back.
No, I know, but he doesn't know that you could just stay in that.
But you seen them that wasn't a PSG where we were just playing with a back two because everybody was launching forward.
Yeah, I think we've been over this one. It definitely the formation fluctuates depending on the situation of the game.
No, but you have a
base formation.
Those players in the back
Correct.
four are playing as a back four. When we're defending, right?
Right.
So for me, you've got players instead of just, we move them into the back three when we have possession, right? One way or the other, we do that. So for me, it's not. If there was a reason, if it was the same, then we wouldn't say a back four. It's not. Not, and it creates a different style of football when you have when you have those wing backs. So for me, it's not the same, and maybe we don't have wing backs.
So when you defend as a back four, but when we attack, it becomes a back three. That's the reality of it.
Yeah. But if you have 5 on the back when you're in defense, right? Because your wing backs come back and support, then you've got, your 3 center backs basically will, make sure nothing goes in to the box, right? Because
again, that feels very defensive when you think about it from a tactical perspective.
Yeah, but then when you get the ball out wide, off they go down the road, right? So let me see how a couple people will continue. Hold that thought. Got Tiger and Guna in the house. He says hello from Australia. No, is it Australia? It says Australia there. Yeah. Yes, Australia. I think I was talking Sydney the last time, but Australia. Welcome to the show. Beats Guna says hello. Rhetoric Gamer says Arteta dies by his sword is horrible, but so many times I've seen the tall pressing strikers get injured and instantly lose 10 yards of pace. Sasa Kaladik is one of them, and Giroud and Bentley were too. But those were not under Arteta, right? If you're talking Arsenal. Somehow, Wenger got them to win. So regardless of how we play them, and for me, if the one thing I know is if I'm getting put in positions to score goals and I can't, then that's on me because at some point you need to be able to finish your dinner, right? And we don't do
And
that.
you
So
and
as much as we complain about this and that clinicalness, but those players are not. They're not finishing what they need to do. They're getting put in positions to do it, and they're not.
and Bednar was like a fourth or fifth string striker, but he still had like 59 goals when he was at Arsenal
Yeah, because he
we
put
played
some of
it.
it. Yeah,
We played attacking football.
yeah. Arteta hasn't figured that one out. He hasn't figured that one out. Pete Skinner says we could have really benefited from playing Tierney on the wings with MLS in midfield more this season. Switch it up, Miguel. I think you're playing with fire. That's the only reason why. Right now, Arteta doesn't like to get burned.
In
Right.
2022, we scored how many goals again?
22. We scored. Let me see. I have that number here. We scored 84 goals in the Premier League.
All right, so we dropped to 69 this season. What was last year's total number?
90.
Okay. Yeah, it was 90. I think we did better. Right.
So something happened.
86 in the league. 86 in the league.
So we did see a drop off in attacking this season compared to the previous season.
We went from having four. We went from having 4 double-digit strikers to 3, and in this season we got 1.
Yeah, which I think was Kai, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So again, something happened. The injuries were part of it.
Yeah. Actually, sorry, we had none. Correction. Yeah. Correction. We had none in the league.
69.
First time in 100 years, Arsenal has not had a double-digit striker in a season, huh?
My 1928-29 season.
Yeah, so it's like so Arteta's breaking records.
Well, players are breaking records technically because they didn't put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, but I'm gonna say the system doesn't help them either. So they have to be near perfect because they don't get opportunities.
So what changed in the gameplay between 22, 23, and 24? Because if the system was the same, inverted left back, and we had
my understanding is we change every season the way we play because the way we played in 22, 20, 23 is not the same way we play today. So I would say
what would be different in your mind? I'm just out of curiosity.
That's when Zaka was pushing way high all the time. A lot of times he would be the furthest player up the pitch.
Yep, and there you go. We don't have that 8. We don't have that 8. Yeah.
But in 23 we had 84 goals, 5 less, with no Xhaka. 69 this season. What really changed? I blame the players.
One is our depth because we let go 3 or 4 attackers, right?
Absolutely.
At least 4 attackers we left walk out the door. So when you do that and you replace it with Sterling, who surprisingly has finally hit the wall in terms of like age, it looks like. You can't say the numbers aren't attributed to the depth. It's definitely attributed to not having as many attackers in the squad that you had before. And then you don't use the ones you do have.
So I blame injuries too.
No, I hear you on the injuries, but I'm saying you can't let 4 attackers out the door, bring in 1 old timer, and then go, you know what? Why is it's not only because of injuries.
It's all 3 of them. It's all 3.
No. But the major thing is your depth. It doesn't. If you were fully healthy, it doesn't mean we're going to score 86 goals because you have less players to actually do that.
That's why Arteta at one point was, we have too many players. This was like 4 seasons ago, and he's like, we have enough players, and he's like, too few players than too few players because, as Gary's saying, we keep not replacing like for like as far as attacking midfielder goes, but you don't get one. Smith Rowe leaves.
You let go. You let go one of the top scorers in the league, and you replace with nobody. Right? When you go from Aubameyang, who was leading the league in goal scoring at one point, and now we barely even hit the top 5. Right?
I haven't replaced him or Lacazette, either one of them.
Yeah, so Do we have a striking coach? That I asked that question a lot. Like, do these guys actually practice shooting? Because they don't look like they're prepared to do it.
I still don't think they're not allowed to be creative. On
I
set
no,
pieces, you
I hear what
can.
you're saying, but like my question is, when they get the opportunity to shoot, do they know what they're doing when they have an opportunity to shoot? Because they don't look like they don't look like they're ready. And I say this about every team. Attackers
It-
never look like they're prepared to get the ball.
Well,
Like all of a sudden somebody passed it to me. Oh my gosh, I have to shoot. I didn't know that ball was going to come to me. I mean, you guys played volleyball, right?
Yep.
mm-hmm.
Everybody attacks the net, right? Everybody attacks the net, right? Everybody's calling out, "Give me the ball," right? That's how volleyball works. The setter
One
decides
person
where to
standing
put the
back.
ball based on the defense, right?
Yep.
Everybody's prepared to shoot, and I don't think that's the case with the way a lot of football plays right now. Now everybody gets into the 18, and the last thing they're thinking of is, wait a second, I might have to shoot in a moment's notice because the pass might come to me. Nobody's prepared, and that's footwork for me, and that's the striking coaches. You know, that's what they're supposed to teach.
So,
And
question. Go ahead, Tony.
I was going to say, you seen the difference when we played PSG in the semifinals there, that they get a half a yard of space and they would just launch the ball. And guess what? It ended up in the back of a net more times than not.
And
So
who does
there's
that on
been-
our team besides Nweri and Saka?
So Saka let the team down, if we're honest. If you look at last year's totals to this year's,
So Saka being injured let us down.
So his injury matters.
No. I'm just saying. Why would you bring his name up then? Why
Well,
did you bring
if
up
we're
everybody
I'm
else's
looking at-
name?
I'm looking
Because
at
not
this
only was
year's
Saka
totals.
injured, Erdogan was injured. Got Gabriel is injured.
I brought up injuries earlier, so that wasn't the reason.
No. I said we needed depth, and then you bring up a player who was injured, came back injured. I'm saying if we had depth, then you wouldn't need to bring him back. If you had Nweri and you said Nweri, well, you know what, you're healthier than Saka. Maybe Saka comes in and spells you. You don't have to. You might start, but then Saka will come in and give you either 45 minutes. Come in at halftime or come in 30 minutes to go in the game
Played it all, but
because he's not
38 games.
He had players like Ben White that was hurt last year, played hurt this year until he had for surgery, and he said I had a surgery last summer. But it's Arteta because he should know to trust more players.
Yeah.
He still can.
Yeah.
If you're planning on this next season, you're implementing a 15-year-old into a team. There's got to be other kids in the academy that you can come on
when he's 17,
minutes.
turned 18 during the season, so not 15. If you're talking about Nweri.
No, not Winery, but the guy they're bringing up.
Dalman, you mean? He can't even play. He's not even allowed to play in the Premier League right now. Next season he is, so he couldn't.
But that's what they're planning on.
Well, they you know what? We know how they're going to use him, and they're not going to use him probably the same way they use Nweri. Not much. Probably even worse. Fell off the cliff.
Well, Winery was ridiculous. It's like,
well, I don't know what it is.
Odegaard's out. Throw him out there.
What is he trying to? Why do I always have to be the one that turns?
It's like it makes no sense. Winery was scoring almost a goal per 90 minutes.
Yep.
And you're not getting him out there for at least, even if you don't start him, put him out there 30 minutes every game.
Yeah, and anytime I said Nweri, people are like, but he's not going to start. I'm like, he doesn't have to start. But when you need a goal, guess who's better to take that opportunity? I mean, he showed multiple times when he wasn't scoring that, look, I will look to shoot. I will open things up. And he also he assists, he will assist too. So I kind of felt like, we everybody wants him. He doesn't need to be a starter today, but he does have a skill set and can be utilized in a way that gets the best out of him. I think we don't do that. We've got we failed to trust Ethan when he was needed. Yeah, late in the season, I think we could have used him. We didn't use him.
But that was the problem of they kind of said he hit a wall, but he hit that because he went from the under 17 straight into the first team. He didn't play in the under 21s,
Yeah.
where he's playing with people more muscular, bigger. So yeah, he's gonna get wore out because he's a teenager out playing with men.
And
that
I think he was
happens.
I think he was starting at that point, right? So got Lonzo in the house. I think he was starting at that point. So yeah, he's going to wear down. But that's where like later on in the season when he wasn't starting,
Yeah.
and guess what? We need a goal, like against West Ham. Maybe you bring him in. You know, you need a goal. Like if you look at the way I think let's see, because I was looking at the stats of this, but when you needed goals late, he barely got enough minutes. Let's see what it was, because I was looking at like I think he played in many of the games, but did he get enough time to actually use his skill set? I don't think so. So, yeah.
And when you're coming on with 83rd, 85th minute, it's hard to get much going.
Yeah. So here we go. So, I think so he started against Fulham and he got an assist. Everton got 45 minutes. He got pulled. I think, this is after I think he had started 4 out of the last 5 games. So yeah, he probably late in the season when they try to use him, they probably use him too much. Against Ipswich, I think he played 33 minutes, so I think he came off the bench for that. Crystal Palace, 2 minutes. We drew that. Bournemouth, 4 minutes. We lost that. Didn't come off the bench against Liverpool. Didn't come off the bench against Newcastle.
When did he start starting? Was it when Martinelli got hurt?
See, the first start in the league based on this, I believe, was I don't know if he came in. I said I'm looking at the numbers here. I think Brentford might have been the first time he started in the league because that was 78 minutes. So I would assume that's yeah. So he came in 78 minutes. Next game 45 minutes. Then he had a muscle injury, so he was out for 2 games. So yeah. Then I guess they started getting him back into flow. 45, 6, 90, 81, 77, 58, 11, 66, 45, 63, 33. They started weaning him down towards the end of the season. Well, I think he started more games than he should have, but I don't think Arteta had answers. But he pushed him when he didn't need to, and then when we needed him, didn't get the best out of him.
It's just crazy when it's pretty much like for like him and Odegaard, and you don't start him then, but you wait later on. It's just like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Let's not forget how long he gave Nketiah. Arteta gave Nketiah how long? I don't know what that means.
Way too long.
I mean, I wouldn't have given him the deal in the first place.
I can't believe it's like, oh, here you go. Here's the sacred number 14. You get to start for us, and then he scored like 5 goals.
Yeah, did not.
You
what?
It was 5 last year.
5, yeah. No, I don't think we use Nketiah the right way either. But that's the problem. He's trying to use him like he's a striker, and he wasn't like a legit striker for us the way we played him and the way he played for us.
Not in the Premier League. I don't know if he would.
Yeah.
How well he'd fare in the championship, to be honest.
Yeah, he did the thing that most players do, right? Like the season before, when his contract was coming to an end, he had a really good couple of games late in the season, and Arteta probably looked at that and said, "Yay!" But then forgot that. Guess what? You have to keep pushing him to continue to do that, because I don't think I saw I didn't feel like I saw that again. That kind of play that he was doing, that he was going to put pressure on the back line. He barely ever did that. He would just jog towards the defenders, and I'm like, this isn't going to work. Dude, when you had no contract, you were sprinting at those guys and they coughed up the ball, and that's how you got some freak goals against Chelsea. And then
it's weird how often that happens with Arsenal, Gary. It's like the contract year comes up, and I think, oh, Better bust my ass.
Yeah. So he kind of got what he wanted, and then didn't like. Then they didn't continue to ask him to do it again, which I think that's on Arsenal, because they didn't get the best out of him. And then, I mean, you've got Erdegaard asking you to help press. You saw the difference, right? Right. Kai Havertz comes in after being out for 3 months. The first thing he does is what? Press that front from that front line. It looked different. It looked like what we had been used to. And it's like we missed that. Erdegaard couldn't do it, and we don't have anybody else besides Kai Havertz that's going to do it.
Yeah.
Trossard doesn't do it well, and Martinelli, I don't think I've seen him press up there. For some reason, he always has to play back because I think he's probably better coming back on the defense than he is pressing at the top.
Yeah, we missed that press for sure. For sure. Yeah, it's a part of the game. I do wonder. I was thinking about this today. With all the reports of Zesco and Georgis, crazy to me is think we might get both of them.
That would make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't know. I mean, because that would be the best of both worlds. Yeah. Both Berta and Saka and Arteta would be happy. They both got the player they wanted, and you know what? And they don't have to rush Zesco in, and he would know that. He would know that. And they would just have to figure out what to do with Kai Havertz because I don't think Arteta. I think that would be the hard one for Arteta. How does he manage that? How does Arteta manage it?
For all the reports, is he's a slot back into the midfield, which he's terrible there.
Well, as long as you're not Partey playing right back, it'll be okay.
That should never happen ever again.
Correct.
You don't bring Zubimendi in and then say Partey, you know what? I might need you to play right back. No. That can't be ever. And no. Because sometimes some people are saying at some point maybe you do go to that. What is it? 4-2-4. Is it 3-2-4-1 or whatever it is? Or
I think in 4-3-2-1.
4-2-3-1, right?
Yeah.
4-2-3-1 with two defensive backs there. Defensive mids there. Don't know when we would need to use that. I mean, I feel like our defense is fine the way it is. We just need to figure out how to get that front 4 or 5 players to work.
That's exactly what you would do. You would run Zubimendi and Rice in the midfield as the 2, and then you would put Odegaard as that 10 or whatever it's going to be, and then in your wings you're going to have Martinelli or Saka or whoever it's going to be, your other left wing type person.
People say Erdegaard's not a 10 though.
He's definitely a 10. Come on.
I've heard many people say he's not a 10. They say he's an 8. He's more. He's best suited as an 8. He's not a 10. That's kind of what I hear.
He can play both.
But I don't feel like I don't see him. I don't see any of those traits that a 10 has.
Because he plays 8 right now.
I know, but like when we're on the attack and when I expect him to maybe show me something. I don't mean he plays the role, but I mean when he gets put in a situation where you would see a 10 do this, he doesn't do it.
Yeah, but you've seen him get 15 goals and 10 assists, Gary. That says you're a 10.
Yeah, and we haven't seen it since. And why do we not see it the next year? Why do we not see it the next year then? After the 15 and 10
formations, Gary. That's when we were playing.
Well, no, okay.
4-2-3-1.
We changed the formation. So what was wrong with the one we were doing? Why do we have?
We went from 4-2-3-1 to 4-3-3.
Yeah, it makes no sense, right? You got your best players, and you don't want to put them in positions to succeed, and then we wonder why they struggle, right? It's like here you are. You're really a good center back. I'm gonna pay you as a left back. Why are you struggling as a left back?
He had 11 assists a year ago. The year before that, he had 8 assists. This year, he had I think 8.
8 what total? Right?
8 total in 30 games. He played 8 less games.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you expect to get something out of him, like he
had a down year. He had a down year. I mean, that's for his standards. But 3 goals, 8 assists for some players is pretty good. But it's a down year.
People talk about the injuries, but those guys still played a lot of games.
And that's what's kind of disappointing.
Like
we know what they're
talking about.
They're what?
I was talking about league form.
Yeah, but they're playing a lot of league games, and then we know they're not healthy, and then we're wondering why they struggle. We're wondering why they struggle when we look at it, but then you turn around and go, well, probably shouldn't even be out there. Like Saka probably shouldn't even be out there. Erdegaard probably shouldn't be out there. Ben White probably shouldn't have been out there.
So we had 3 goals in the Champions League, 1 assist in the Champions League. So what's that? That's 6 goals and 10 assists.
Yeah.
And then in the FA Cup, let's see what he did there. He had nothing. And then Carabao Cup, let's go look at that. He didn't even play.
I think he missed a lot
6
of that.
goals, 10 assists. That was his tally for the year in 30 games and missed some time. I mean, I wonder where that ranks in midfielders, just in general in the Premier League overall. But the standards are high for Odegaard. So, I mean, we saw last year he had a really good year, and the year before that. So, I expect he'll bounce back. I still have faith in him.
I hope he does. I don't know. I just feel like a lot of it
I think
isn't
it's
just
what he's getting asked to do.
Yeah, I don't think it's the physical part at all. I think it's the mental. For me, the mental part.
Well, he's slow taking his shots sometimes. I know in the PSG games there was a couple times where I felt like he could. There was a second he took that if he was quicker, it's at least a shot on target, regardless if it goes in. I don't know, but a couple times I noticed that with this game, and I think we all watch the games differently, right? So sometimes depending on who you're watching, a lot of times I'll watch Havertz or who's ever running the top line. I'll watch Saka or Martinelli. I'll watch them to see what they do. But I don't really watch Odegaard as closely as I do those other positions. I mean, I still watch him, but you know how sometimes you'll follow a player if they're on your screen to see what they do and what their movements are. And, you know, he seemed to me like more like a deep laying playmaker where he just kind of was hanging back a little bit. And he was the orchestrator, sometimes the guy that took the ball from the back line, which, again, if you're that far back, you're not a 10, you're basically an 8. Doesn't mean you can't play the 10 position, but is just a different role. He's playing more of a box-to-box type guy. So I think he's going to have a comeback year next year. I'd say buy Odegaard stock, especially if we get ourselves like a Gyorkas or a Shesko, for sure.
Yeah. Say hi to Godfrey. Thanks for joining us. He says hello to us. Hello. And I think as you were asking this question, does he make a comeback next year? I hope so. But I mean, I hope he does, and I hope he changes a lot of things. Like he has to change a lot of things. Like he has to want to shoot. He has to want to get himself in the mix. This is the Premier League. We talk about how Vieira can't handle people leaning on him and all this kind of stuff. And Erdegaard, if he's going to play, he has to be able to do the same thing. And I know he doesn't like that, but that's part of the deal. When you play in the Premier League, you have to be able to handle that. People are going to try to muscle you off the ball, and he can't let that happen all the time. At some point, he's going to have to fight back. I'd rather him get a yellow for fighting back than to just not try. I think he'll step out of those types of things. So, and he might get injured, but that, this is the Premier League. I mean, Saka's out there getting injured sometimes because he's taking a lot of hits, right? If he doesn't have anybody else helping him, he gets the ball more than not. That ball is flying to the right side of the pitch, and he's got to take the ball, and that means he's going to have more players on him, which means there's going to be more contact on him. If he had the same on the other side, not so much. If he had some coming through the middle, not so much. But they defer to Saka, and it's like he needs help, and Arteta hasn't said you have to help him. You can't sit there and watch him do all the work. You got to help him. I don't think he does that either, right?
Yeah, and to me, it's like you have Saka and Odegaard, but you had Kai, which they were working on his upper body, and he supposedly broke a lot of records since Arteta's been there on the strength stuff. But it's like, why are you doing it with all the guys? Because you can work on your upper body when you got a muscle injury down low.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when you say the two, I assume you're talking about Shesko and Guterres, and who says we're not going after them? Sounds like we are based on all the reports. Like one day Guterres is coming, the next day Shesko is coming.
I don't think
No.
anybody knows.
It,
I
it,
love my.
it's basically
No, I
this
mean
weekend.
my insider says we have a striker, so I don't know what that means. You know,
It basically changed over the weekend
so
because
like I think a
they were
lot of
talking to Guterres.
yeah, I think
They're probably talking to Guterres
they
now.
are what do they call it? Splitting their hedging their bets, right?
Yeah.
Until until it all works out, it doesn't work out, and you don't know. So you just for me, the way that they're handling that situation is the same way I think we should handle everything we do. Right? When we go out to play an A game, it doesn't matter what league, what cup it's for. Guess what? This might be the one we win. So why don't we try to do that? All right? We're not saving for the next game. We're not looking forward to the next match. We're not saving for 2 weeks down the road. No, we're winning the one in front of us. They're doing the same thing. Look, we don't know which one of these guys is going to come. We'll make sure we have deals set with both of them until we get the one that works out. That's what I feel is happening. When one of them breaks through, the deal works. They just hit the button and they go. All right. So that's kind of how I feel like they're doing it. And you would want to make sure they do that because in other times we would go after the one that was probably the less likely to happen, and then we don't get anybody. So this one, I think they're trying to get one of the two and make it work.
But you're facing a dilemma of the whole transfer because you're like, what will this guy do under Arteta? And it's like, will he work after Arteta?
Well, that's director of football directs the football, right?
I know that, but you still have to kind of hedge your bets on that, saying, okay, he's.
Are we? But we're not. There is some yes, we're going to go out there and for me, the only reason why we would be looking at both of them is because Arteta can work with either one of them,
or they had it fall through before and they're trying to get at least one of them over the line. And if you put your eggs in one basket, you might end up with.
What I said, hedging your bets, dude.
Yeah. I think I don't, but again, I don't think it's Arteta wants this one, Berta wants this one. I don't think it's that. I really don't. I think there's a world where they want both.
Well, you know what? Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I think
they say that someone might be
they have to get one. Here's the thing.
I get that.
They have to get one.
So we talked about, was it Shesko? Someone could play out wide. What if Martinelli's the casualty this summer and he gets sold to make this happen?
Yeah, but
Gary's fine with it now.
Yeah, no, you know what? I'm fine with it now because I like trends. It's trending in the wrong direction. I mean, a lot of our attackers are trending in the wrong direction.
Gary would have a
I'll give Saka a pass because he was injured. To some degree, I'll give Erdogan a pass because he was injured. But the other ones that played, nah.
Well, Martinelli, hold on now, had just about as good a season as he did last year.
No, Martinelli was
8 goals, 5 assists this year.
It's not good enough. It's still not good enough for us.
Well, Saka wasn't good enough this year.
Yeah, when we talked about why. His availability, yeah.
Mm. And then last year, Martinelli had 6 goals, 5 assists. So actually, Martinelli had a better year this year than last year.
Yeah, he had eight goals, and how many times has he gone 1-on-1 with a goalkeeper, and you thought he's going to score? I never thought he was going to score because he doesn't.
At least once. A couple of them, there was it was never going to happen.
You know what I mean? Like he should be in that situation. He should be scoring.
Yeah,
that's what we want.
Up there, and I just see him dribbling the ball out.
Yeah.
I would probably move on from Trossard and keep Martinelli.
I hear you. Got Steven in the house. Thanks for joining us, Steven. Thanks for joining us.
And Trossard was supposed to move this winter, but with the injuries, damn it. It's the same with.
Yeah.
Kivior was supposed to.
And you know what? I hear you. Well, I'll say to Steven's comment there, I think he only does things because usually because of injuries or something. And then it works, and then he goes back to what he wants. It's like necessity. I had to do it, but I really want to do this, and it's like, dude, but that worked, And he's like, no, that's not what I want to do. Like he's like, He's got to
It's
send
like
his
when
mind how the
Odegaard.
football should work, and it's like,
It's like
but your
when
football
Odegaard was
sucks,
out.
huh?
When Odegaard was out, we were struggling. Then he went to a 4-4-2. Then we were doing good.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, when he comes back, it's back to the same old 4-3-3.
And and for me, it's like, why would you continue to do something you know didn't work before an injury and after the injury, right? Why?
But we keep catching up on this. But that's when you need assistance
You know, their job
loudly
should
in
be
his
to their
ear.
job should be, hello, coach. Remember when we were doing all that? When we scored 80, 90 goals? Yeah, remember that? Why are we not doing it now? And it can't be because of injuries, because we're getting opportunities to score every game. You can count on your hand how many times we had opportunity to score, put ourselves in a position to score, and we always do something. You don't connect. We don't even make the pass. Because for me, a lot of times you don't even make the pass. And some of that is like, you'll see it with Declan Rice. He won't make that pass because he might turn it over. Right, Erdegaard, he won't make that pass. Why? Why not make that pass? You think there's a third striker involved? Third? Does that mean you're talking about not getting Shesko and Gukares? I think you need to get one of those two before you even think of a legitimate third option. We can't fail on both of them, can we?
Could be Watkins.
Yeah. As I told you, Tony, I would be so disappointed if we did that.
I would not be if we got Ollie Watkins.
I would be disappointed. The reason why I'd be disappointed is because why didn't we do it in January?
Who cares about January at this point?
No. But that's
present, Gary. Don't waste the trip.
No, but it's a trend. It means we're going to always do it too late.
That means we wasted the trip if we.
Yeah, we wasted that trip, and now we're going to go back.
Hold on. Even if we buy Sesko, Gorkas, or Watkins, the trip was still wasted at this point. We all know this.
Yeah, no, I know. I don't like that, dude. Come on,
I hate it too.
You had the money in your pocket, burn it. You know what I mean? Just burn it. Guess what? Something good might come out of it. Say you win a trophy. Say you win a big trophy. All of that was possible when you bring in a striker. We made it to the semifinals without a striker. You're telling me if we had a striker, it would be even more impossible? No.
Garrett, we all know this, though.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why Ollie Watkins would disappoint me so much, because we could have had him.
I'll take Ollie Watkins today.
And
I'll take Ollie Watkins.
I would just be disappointed that we waited to get him late.
You'll be really disappointed if you buy Gorkas and he fails in the league.
Yeah, and we can get Ollie Watkins. He could fail too. He might hit the wall, right? I mean, because think about it, that would be like what's his name? Lewis. The Brighton Everton striker.
Oh, Calvert-Lewin.
Calvert-Lewin. He just fell off the map, right?
And we're gonna get Calvert-Lewin and Ollie.
No. But I'm just saying his skill set just went all of a sudden, right?
He was
right.
trapped.
Ollie Watkins could be the same thing, and then we'd be like, you take a risk no matter what you do. For me, we have to buy the striker that best suits the style of play we are going to use. If we play Arteta ball, the striker needs to be able to stand in the middle of the box and outfight the opponents. And that's Shesko. The only problem is when we get the ball into the box, he may not be there. And we have problems with that as well.
But when do you have Kai? What do you really need Sesko?
Kai what is Kai good for?
Holding up the ball,
Well, he's got
that type of stuff.
He had most of your goals last year. There's that.
Yeah.
He was second.
And then when you need him to score a goal, what does he do with it?
He still scored goals, though.
When you needed a goal, you see, you didn't answer the question, so you answered the question.
You can't give Saka a pass, but
you didn't answer. You didn't answer the question, so you answered the question. I get it.
I answered the question.
So you just deflected. You just deflected, meaning you get what I'm trying to say.
No, you and I have two different agendas here. You defend Saka, I defend Havertz.
No, I didn't say anything about Saka. I said we'll talk about the striker, right?
Everybody knows that we have our. Go ahead.
Can you see how many of his goals were headed goals?
I don't know, but Kai Havertz played 23 games and 9 goals. Saka played 25 and had 6 goals.
Saka shouldn't have played like 10 of those games.
Seems like Kai shouldn't have played 10 of them either.
He didn't play 10 of them.
I mean, look.
He didn't play injured. He came back, and you saw him. He was
So
fully healthy.
last year,
Saka came back not healthy at all. You could
last
see
year,
it.
Saka and Havertz were your top 2 goal scorers in the league.
I still don't know how he was fully healthy when you completely skip
Yeah.
non-contact training. You go straight to contact training. You
Yeah.
don't go to the under 21s like they used
They
to.
don't do that
And
anymore.
I think that's part of the injuries, Gary, is that these guys, you just put them back in there instead of building up their stamina and everything
No,
else
we
you
saw
lose when they
Xhaka go
sit.
from knee injury, supposed surgery, and then comes back.
Yeah, but he had a
When like,
voodoo witch doctor doing his shit.
well, I'm
'cause
just saying he did.
Well, listen, there also 2022. Your
Yeah.
top 2 goal scorers in the league.
Like Tiger and Guna thinks it's Watkins, so I don't know. Yeah.
I like that.
We actually play a 4-1-2-3, 4 backs, 1 center defender, 2 8s, and 3 forwards. Yeah.
Yeah. And yes. So 2022, Gabriel Martinelli, 15 goals. Martin Odegaard, 15 goals.
And we didn't build on that. And
Well, they didn't build on that.
Well, the team didn't build on it.
Those
I'm
2
gonna
players
say
did not build on that. That's the problem. Now, I will give Martinelli the benefit of the doubt because Xhaka was pushing forward, right? I think that plays a massive factor into it because I just do.
Yeah, so then we don't go and get we don't go get a player that does that. So here we go. I shine the light and show you the way to out. You go, crap, great. I know how to do this now. Right? Then you turn off the light and just run into the wall.
Don't we have a Ukrainian that could do that job?
That's fine.
Well, obviously Arteta doesn't think so, right? That's the problem with this whole thing. Like we do something really well, and the next season we do something different, and people go, "Why is it not working now?" Well, because you changed it up.
I mean, that's what he was so successful at, was inverting, that he was in the midfield up almost where
that's why I don't like
was.
that's why I don't like Rice as the 8 because he's not Xhaka, which is crazy to say because we only saw that Xhaka one season.
Yep.
You know, I mean, Biscana agrees with me. He lost a lot of clear chances for me.
So this could be the thing now. This could be Odegaard and Havertz as the 2, as the interchangeable parts.
Odegaard and who?
And Havertz leading the press, either or. You know,
yeah, Arteta likes to have both of them, and you see what happened when we had both of them. We just didn't, that's when when that press looked really nice with both of them pressing up top.
Yeah. Well, again, you bring in like a guy like a Györkes or a Sesko, and they may be able to do that role for you too.
True.
So I mean, this is, that's why, for me, if you could find a way, and again, this is a lot of ifs here and a lot of wishes, and Zubamendi's nice to bring in and everything, and maybe you keep Zinchenko around. I don't know. I'm just putting this idea.
If you use them the right way, you can hold on to the play. If you don't use them, then they have to go.
It had a stellar point, Gary. Let me get to the point. This is the best part about this thing. So I'm playing like fantasy football here, and it's not reality, but I don't care because nobody listens to me anyway. But let me get Györkes. I know you guys do, but nobody else is really going to be like, you know what, that guy Spencer from Virginia, cutting edge football knowledge. That guy, I need to hear what he had. Nobody says that. No, what you do is, in a perfect world, get yourself Sesko, Györkes, and Watkins.
That would make Arteta's brain blow up.
I would fucking go crazy.
It's like he wouldn't know what to do. He's like, what would I do with those 3 forwards? Can I play them all together? No. Huh?
Score a bunch of goals is what you do.
but he doesn't get that part of the game. He doesn't get that part of the game.
They would get it for him.
No, think about it. He supposedly helped Sterling game when he got there, right? That's what he did when he was there, supposedly.
Well,
Arteta. Where is that guy? Where is that guy who put Sterling in positions to?
Hold on now.
Where is that guy? Because I don't see him.
Sterling. I don't want to talk about Raheem Sterling. I want to talk about what about the great job that Mikel Arteta did with Mikel Merino. We gig Arteta when he makes mistakes.
You want Moreno to be our starting forward?
Absolutely. I'm not. No. What I'm saying is he was able to take something that was unknown.
Yeah,
And
but because he created that, him and Edu and Arsenal created that
technically
mess.
Moreno created all those chances by putting the ball.
No, but like that whole situation was created by Arsenal, right? They create their own mess and they clean it up, and we go, "Oh, that was really good." No, but why did you have to? We didn't. Why did you create
we
that
know
mess in the first place?
I mean, everybody knows the January window was a massive mistake, but Arteta said it himself, right?
Yeah,
it's a good little
But
fact.
you go back
I
to
think
the
I saw.
summer.
Did you see
Go
Martinelli?
back to the summer.
Did you see that video of Martinelli at the? I think he got invited to the Brazilian the team for whatever their their season thing is, and you've got Ancelotti there looking at him supposedly as he's walking around, going, "You know what? You hurt me in that last game at the Bernabeu." You know, that's
well, I think we should be excited.
I don't want to do that. I want us to just go out there and get me the wins give me an opportunity to win every game.
Gotta get these players first in there, Gary. We gotta get that.
Well, I don't see, and that's what I think. I want to be excited. I just want us to have an opportunity to win.
I'm trying to play
game.
Ultimate Team with Arsenal. Okay, I don't want it to make any sense. I just need.
You have to pay money to do that, Spencer.
That's true, but I can go on FIFA and do that financial takeover and give $1 billion to Arsenal and just be like, let's do this.
Erdegaard has numbers identical or better than Ozil or Fabregas as of today.
Listen, guys, I'm going to say this right now.
Not when they're at their they're at their top though, does he? Because I don't think so. I don't think we look at Ozil at Erdegaard and go, that's the Ozil level, top level.
Ozil only did it for 1 year.
We haven't seen Erdegaard do it, so he's not at that
he had
level.
15 goals one season.
15 and 10. Come on, Gary.
That's not what we wanted. That's not what we want out of him.
That was
a bonus, the 15 goals, but I want the 20 assists is what I said when he did that. I was like, flip that number. That's what I want. Give me 10 and 15.
Does it matter which way it comes?
It does matter because it means he's getting more people
Tony,
involved in the game.
Don't do this to Gary. Because 15 and 20 split still equal 25, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It creates more. It creates more if he's assisting. So stop. Don't even try that.
We saw Gary pause there for a second.
No, I was saying, what are you talking about?
We knew you knew the math. You were just like, damn, they got me.
I knew the math.
It's 25 goals, no matter how you get it, Gary.
Listen, if David Raya kicks 40 penalties and scores 40 goals for us that way, I'll win that way too.
I don't care how we do it, but like I said, we need to improve on it. And like like I said, he got the 10 assists with the 15 goals. Was he going to do that again next year? Probably not. But could he get the 15 assists? I believe he could have. Yeah. That's like if I was going to set a goal for him. Yeah, I saw you do 15 and 10. Now I need you to hit 15 assists. We'll worry about the goals because we're going to,
How many times have you heard Gary say 2 letters? GA. He uses them together for the total amount of goals you get, but for some reason, if you're Martin Odegaard, it's not good enough for you.
Because I thought he was more of a creator for us, and that's why I wanted him to get more GA. So that's why.
Yes, it's lazy.
Well, the only way he gets more GA is if he gets more GA, with assists being the biggest side of that equation. All right. So if you're gonna say he's a creator, and I'm gonna say I want more.
Though. I'm gonna say this right now. BX, don't get mad at me. But you're right on this one. We didn't finish our dinner up front. That's a fact.
Where did he say that?
He said Odegaard would have had 20 assists if we had finished our dinner. That's a fact.
This year?
Yes.
Yeah. No.
Squeak. There's my voice squeaking. No, he had the most chances created on the team too, right?
Yeah, but that's when you don't bring in attackers. Guess what? This is what happens. Like
who do we hold?
What? Okay, so here we go. We would have had 20 if we could have finished our dinner. Did you suspect any of our attackers outside of Saka were going to get better from the previous season?
So why aren't we blaming the attackers and not why are we blaming Odegaard?
I'm blaming him because he doesn't want to take the shot.
I have the answer for you on this. Why we should blame Odegaard. because he wears the captain armband. So heavy is he that is in leadership roles.
I get that, but you know what? I actually want him to be more involved, and that to me was like at some point you're going to have to take that shot and make it a little bit easier for your teammates because now you're a threat. When he's not a threat, it's easy to defend. So he's making a nice pass into an attacking area, but guess what? The defense doesn't even flinch because they don't think he's going to take the damn shot. So he makes it easy for me. You see it all the time, right? You know, I know he's going to make that pass, so I'll let him. But but I know he's not going to shoot. You know, that threat has to be there that he's going to shoot, and that turns the defense towards him a lot more than it would. And that's why. So yes, he does he does create, but how good are those created shots and opportunities that he puts there? Probably not so good in my eyes, because I feel like he doesn't create any attention by the defense. Saka does, right? Saka creates attention from the defense. He gets the ball. How many eyes are on him? 2, 4, 6, 8, and the goalkeeper. You know, they're all looking at him. He's creating attention. Rudiger gets the ball. One guy, and he's off of him because he knows he's not going to do anything with it. So yeah, so that's how I look at it, and that's why I want more from him, and I want him to be more of a threat.
Well, also, if the argument is he's your captain, you expect more. I can understand that argument.
Yeah, he's supposed to be a leader, lead us.
No, that's we're exactly the same point. Like there is a higher expectation if that's your argument. I mean, I think people are hard on Odegaard, but no. Let me preface this: I'm hard on him too because, like I said earlier, he's the captain.
You know what? Everybody who says that you're so hard on him, and then they start talking about it, and guess what? They're saying the same damn things. They just don't say it with nice words, so it sounds better.
No, I think some people's brains are broken. What I mean by that is they just have their mind made up on Odegaard, and no matter what he does, they're going to think he's soft and trash.
Yeah, no, this right here, a bit nasty. He needs to fight back.
I mean, it's probably why Fabio Vieira is not going to work in this league. Yeah. Probably a really good, talented player.
You have to be. But you know what? You know how it is sometimes when you're out there on the field. That guy that doesn't want to get hit makes you miss, and
Vieira is 140 pounds.
Makes you miss. But if he makes you miss, and then takes the ball up the pitch, that pisses you. That's one way to get back, right?
I mean, I think Fabio Vieira is 140 some pounds.
Yeah.
I mean, I could literally go bench that 15.
Yeah, but he's got the same body, same body build as what did they say? Is his Silver, Bernardo Silva, the same body build? They're not, so he's not. It has not. It's a little bit of a mentality in there.
Maybe there's also not knowing how to take hits too.
Well, that's where
Silva's probably.
That's on Arteta. So you're blaming Arteta. I'm glad.
No, that's on the player.
He should get coached. He should get coached how to play in the league he's coming into because guess
we
what?
blame Arteta when everything goes wrong. We never give him credit when things go right.
What went right this season? You're gonna say Moreno.
Moreno went right. Yeah, that was good.
I'm gonna say I don't want that to be the answer that we got. We took our failing midfielder and put him in.
This is the worst of 3 seasons, if we're honest. Thinking back at the last 3 seasons, this is easily the worst of the 3.
Because you know why? He had to deal with a lot more. Everything that we said he was going to have to deal with, he had to deal with in this last season. We said you need to have depth so that you have answers coming off the bench. We didn't answer that one. Guess what? We need to have more skilled players that can play up top and attack. Will we let more go? You need to have clinical strikers. We didn't fix that. We brought in Moreno, right? And we probably don't want to handcuff ourselves by paying certain players so much money that guess what? Either we have to use them or we can't sell them. All right, we do that as well because Jesus and Havertz, they're over. I think it's over $500,000 we paid them a week. Are we getting the money back? No.
Yeah. And what's bad with us signing Partey, and he'll probably be right at those two wages.
Partey, I think, has shown that I believe he deserves whatever monies we're going to pay him.
He'll probably be on like $150,000 a week.
No, he's already at 180, so I don't think he's
180. You don't think he might? Because where is he going to get that somewhere else? Think Barcelona's going to pay him?
I think teams would pay him. He's on a free. They're not paying transfer fees if he goes to Barcelona.
Yeah, someone would probably pay him that.
Yeah, David Silver, not Bernardo. So David Silver, I think, has the same body structure as Fabio Rivera. Yeah, not Bernardo. Yeah, yeah. No, I think I think he plays in a tough league and he needs to play up to it. You know, Javier Macherano was small, but he was a fighter and world class. It's for me, it's a mentality thing. You know, it's a mentality thing when you're either lighter or smaller.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's what a lot of those Portuguese players, they don't
yeah,
keep being touched that much.
yeah. Yeah. So it's but then you have to. All right, if I'm not gonna take that, then I have to do something else. To where what, I don't mind that he doesn't do that because guess what he does do, and we don't get that. You know what I mean? It's like that. I don't like when people go. You know what? Salah doesn't come back on defense, but what Salah does well, he does really well, right? So you can go, I'll turn away, and I won't concern myself with the fact that he doesn't come back and play defense because the man gives me 40, 50 GA, right? So for me, you got pros and cons to every player, and you have to tap the ones that
See,
are the
there's
positive.
Gary right back at his GA.
I'm just saying.
He didn't specify, which way it's going to be, goal or assist.
Not for Salah because not for Salah, and it's not warranted.
I'm not gonna lie, Tony. I'm very double standard, but at least I'm honest about it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's just what you saying. I'm not honest about it. I change it when I see fit, right?
Do it
when I see fit. What are you talking about?
I mean, I get like we said, we've established Gary's got higher standards for Odegaard than he does for I don't know, Zinchenko.
Yes, I expect him to be really, really good.
I know I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, and he can't be the worst player on our pitch in any game.
But I also agree that whether Odegaard gets me 15 goals and 10 assists or 10 goals, 15
you keep talking about something. You and Tony in this history thing.
We're
just
just
not the
having fun at
history
this
channel.
point,
I'm just talking
Gary.
about what happened yesterday. You're talking about what happened last year.
Right.
Hold on. We did a whole episode earlier about how the January window failed, and we all know that.
You're talking about something that happened 3 seasons ago. I'm talking about something that happened this past season.
Right?
No money jar. I'm not playing.
No.
I'm not
So
giving you any
it's
money.
gonna be funny. You're gonna laugh at this.
Yeah.
Gary brings up the January window. I bring up how great Havertz is, and Tony brings up Rob Holding for Saliba. If those topics get brought up, we have to put $1 in the jar. We don't know where the jar is going to be located at this time, but there's like certain.
So you're talking about until the end of the summer, right? Because that's the only time this works is to the end of the summer.
You have to put Chambers in there instead of Rob Holding.
No, we're talking about that season where Rob Holding came in for Saliba.
Oh.
That's the one that Tony talks about.
Oh yeah.
Everybody starts crying. Hey, we've hit the 90-minute mark. We're gonna, I enjoyed this, so we're gonna keep this. We're gonna keep doing this show.
keep trotting along.
We're gonna keep doing this show, but I do have to get ready to go. I have to get up early morning. I have to go to work in the office. No, I exercised this morning, but I do have to go into the office tomorrow, and I got a meeting that's going to take up some of my take away some of my work time. So I need to make sure I'm in early so I can make up the time. So yes. So we're gonna get out of here. I don't know Conte as well. Conte's a small little guy, but it's a mentality with him. Everybody was fearful of him. All right.
He can be tiny, but you gotta So here's where Vieira needs to get stronger. He doesn't have to bulk up numbers. He just needs to bulk up his leg work. Get that core strong.
It's this here.
I'll get them legs strong too, though. You can't. You got to be able to get on that squat rack and that deadlift and over there. He's got to put some numbers up. He's going to talk to Kai and say, "What do I need to do?" And Kai's going to say, "Add an extra 45 to that deadlift, son, and get to working."
I hear you, but that's not going to work. Then he
Bro.
won't be able to shoot anymore, and that's what we want him. We want him for his footwork and stuff. We want him booting that ball like 20 yards when it's supposed to go 5.
I need assists. I need assists from Vieira. You know what I'm saying?
Steven says a great show.
House the rest of the year.
I appreciate it, Steve. I'm sorry I was late tonight, but
yeah. So Tony, tell the people what up.
Glad I showed up after my asthma attack. Wednesday we'll be doing a preview for Money in the Bank. and Worlds
Sure.
Collide, which is the AAA Mexican wrestling that WWE or TKO purchased. So you'll have that at like, I think it's 2 Central 3. That'll be on YouTube, and later on Peacock / Netflix, the rest of the world. You have Money in the Bank.
Cool.
Well,
Cool.
this
Spencer.
boy right here, Wednesday is going to his forever home, so he will be out.
Oh, nice.
Um,
Does he know?
no, he
Does
doesn't
he?
know yet. He'll find out. I think he's gonna be happy. They got a 7 and a 5-year-old. They just needed something that's a little bit older and slower speed, so he's gonna be all right for them. But he's what we call our pit bull kid. He's got big old Tom cheeks. He's probably about 14 pounds, big massive boy. But yeah, it's good news for him. So Colorado's getting his home, and I'll be around. Like I said, I'm looking for personally, like work. That's it, Gary and Tony. Work.
That. It's the summer months. Yeah, the kids.
Yeah, man.
The kids get off, and the parents have to keep working. I hate that.
I'll
that
tell you
time of
what.
the year.
I'm married to a teacher, as most of you guys know. And my God, there's nothing worse than Monday morning looking over and she's just like, snoring. You're like, I walked my butt to work. You know what I mean? It's like, what are we doing here? Like, but again, she talks about how bad the kids are, and I'm like, I'm still happy I have my career. So, yeah. I mean,
that's one of those things where he's like, why do I do this? It's like, it's like that. Why do I want to? Sometimes why do you want to be a police officer? It's because after 20 years,
yep.
I put my feet up. That's what that. So I got to deal with all this craziness, but then, yeah.
And then the best part is like, she sits at home all day, right, and watches Netflix, Hulu, whatever. And then you get off at 3:31. Hey, you coming home to hang out? I'm like, can I sit in the car for 5 minutes? There's just the decompression.
I know what you're talking about because that happens sometimes. Usually because I'm either I get the whole exhale kind of exhale.
Breathe sometimes.
Yeah.
But no, I still love them. They're great. But no, I'll probably be around Saturday. Like I said,
Cool.
This wasn't the norm to work late today, but taking that day off Friday, I mean, the emails, I was like, Jesus, it took me about 3 hours to get to the emails. So, but whatever. No, I appreciate you guys having me on, and it was fun. Like I said, I am just looking forward to the summer and who we get. Maybe it's just blind faith.
You know what? We can get both of them. That's the thing. Everybody keeps telling us we have 150 to 200 that we can spend without even selling a player. So there is a way for us to bring in players if we want to without having to worry about we need to make a sale. So
and I would love to get those three and not have to really sell any big names. And then you're always going to move a couple of people out, whatever. But
yeah,
That's the thing, though. We're at a point where we can't let any of them go.
Yeah, and you know what? And if Jesus comes back and he gives you a spark, that's cool. And then if you want to sell him, that's cool as well. So he's going to leave anyways eventually. But yeah. So Bates Gunner says, Tom, we miss you. Tom is he's on a road to recovery.
Yep.
He's getting better every day. It's going to take a while.
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't know when we're seeing him back on the YouTube, but he needs to get himself back
healthy
to where back healthy, back to some sort of normalcy. It will be different, but it'll be close to it. Tiger and Guna says, are you doing a live stream next week or having a break? Next week I definitely will do a show because the week after I will be traveling, so we'll take a break in the middle of June. So I probably won't have any shows that Saturday and Monday. So yeah, but next week this weekend and Monday I'll do a show. Hopefully we'll have some transferred. We'll be able to talk about some players because I think the window will close. The window will be closing. What is it? 8 days. Yeah. So Tuesday next week it will close. So hopefully Arsenal will have at least one player in the door.
That's so weird. Why can't you just keep it open?
I don't get the players, the teams that supposedly are taking advantage of it. The only one that I know of right now is Liverpool. I mean, Chelsea's doing what they usually do, getting young players and whatnot, right? And I guess they get they get to play. Don't they get to play in it, right? Doesn't Chelsea get to play in it? I know that team gets to play in it. So there you go. Downtime's essential. Yeah. So this summer we'll be taking some time away. I do have some trips planned. So I will take some time off. I know other people will have some trips planned or just want to take a break anyway. So it won't be every week, but it will be next week we'll definitely do one. But after that we'll take a little bit of a break and we'll see if it's either 1 week or 2 weeks. We'll see how we feel about that. Thanks for coming on, Tyron Gunner, Arsenal Misfit, Big Scunner. Had Anders started to show off. It was just me and Anders chatting. Rhetoric Gamer, thanks for joining us. Who else did we have in here? I think Lonzo was in the house.
We know
BBK Sports.
Smashed.
Miss Melina did join for a couple of ticks. So yes. What'd you say?
I said PSG's going to smash Tottenham in that game, man. Talk about how miles better PSG was.
Well, if they just beat Inter 5-0, you know what they're gonna do, right? They're gonna you know how when you play like in the ranked league and like the score is too high and they tell you you gotta make like 10 passes before you can cross the midline.
I turned it 20 minutes off. Turned 20 minutes in. I was at the gym, and I turned it off.
Yeah,
You just knew.
No, they had no answer. Inter had no answer. And you know what? Not only that, but they didn't look like they had anything coming into this whole thing, right? I mean, they had their hands on 3 trophies and lost all 3.
Mm.
How many clubs are you gonna have really playing your starter?
Well, there's a lot of money
You'd be
involved in this
stupid.
thing, so I think teams will play to get the trophy and the cash that comes with it. So yeah, I think there will be an incentive to win this thing. And this is this only happens this doesn't happen every year, right? It's like every 3 or 4 years, every 4 years or something, right? So yeah, PSG can play the C team and still win. Probably Inzaghi. Oof, I think he's going to go to
I don't think he's a bad manager.
Well, he's going to take the money and run. He's going to go get some money in the Saudi league, I guess. So, yeah. Well, he might not be a bad coach, but he had a really bad stretch of games the way to end his time at Inter. So that's the part, So he might have been good, but that last month is what people are going to remember.
Yeah.
So everybody, we'll be back on Monday, definitely on Saturday. Thanks for joining us. Subscribe and like. We'll do this thing again, and check out Tony's show, wrestling. There's 2 big wrestling events coming up soon. Spencer will be working hard for the money.
And delivering cats.
And delivering cats to their forever homes. So there you go. He's winning, right? That's what they call winning. Everybody, see you guys on the next one. And we're out.
Life is a journey. Don't waste your trip.